Welcome to another episode with NECKROOTS. This is episode 7. This one's entitled Renewed Gratitude, and it's a big deal. We're going to send fire on the wire today, so plug that extension cord into the NECKNATION Power Station. I'm Kit James.
Austin Davis.
And you know what, Austin, I'm excited. I'm grateful to talk about gratitude because gratitude is...
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. And as I was thinking about this, Kit, because we were talking about, we're going to share on gratitude today. What came to my mind is that society is bombarded, and we as members of society are bombarded, right, Neck Nation, with all these messages from advertisers, from marketers, from media of things that we don't have that they think that we want, right? So right. Whether it's a new truck, hunting equipment, fishing equipment, you name it, right? Those are things that I pay attention to, obviously. But our minds are bombarded with this, and as a result, we tend to focus on the things that we don't have and the things that we want, instead of focusing on the things that we already do have, which causes us to, in turn, be ungrateful, right? Or to lack gratitude.
That's a good way to put it. And you know what? Don't be so hard on yourself, because some of those things you need, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
A new fishing pole.
Right?
I tell my wife all the time, I need a new fishing pole.
We got a bunch hanging out at the ranch. You're
there
fine.
You go.
You don't need a new one. Dust one off, you'll be ready to go.
There you go.
It's interesting you brought that up, Austin, because gratitude, if we have gratitude, that gets rid of, it makes us focus on what we have. Gratitude makes it enough, right? Gratitude gets rid of the wants and those types of things, right? The material things, and gratitude gets rid of materialistic way of thinking all the way across the board. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's something that we really, Neck Nation, we really want to get. I mean, I've watched it transform my life. I know Austin has, and some of those around us, but we really want to get this message across. And when I think of gratitude, Austin, that picture that you posted on our on one of our social media feeds the other day, it had a picture of Sergeant Johnny Joey Jones.
Yeah.
And he'd blown both of his legs off in an accident, and he serves in our military. And here he is sitting on the couch. Just envision this. He's sitting on the couch, and he has both of his prosthetic legs standing up next to him. They're not attached. Yeah. Right? And he's got his Army green shirt on. He's sitting there. Dude, he's tough, right?
Oh, tough as nails.
And the caption says, people ask him, how can you be so positive and grateful when you've lost both your legs? And underneath it says, how can you be so negative and ungrateful when you have both of your legs?
Wow.
I mean, it's powerful.
It's way powerful. Yeah.
And there's so many stories like that. There's so many unbelievable. Think of the trials he had to overcome. When I see that picture, bro, I got both my legs.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got nothing. I got nothing to cry about.
Yeah, walking through the mountains isn't a problem for you, right?
Right. So, I mean, I love gratitude, man. It's important. So, I mean, I have a story. I've shared a little bit of my son's story, when he was struggling mentally in wrestling, and his coach made him keep a gratitude journal.
Oh, right, yeah.
What a transformation. Not just on the mat, but off the mat. I mean, was he pinning and winning? Yeah, he was. But he also handled his losses better. He was more open. He comes home and you don't have to tell him take the garbage out and go run your dogs and clean up the hunting dog crap or whatever. You don't have to tell him. He does it. He sees it needs to be done, and he did it. I seen the transformation in front of me, and it's like, you know what? Gratitude is for real. It's the heavyweight champion of all emotions.
I would agree with that, and I've said this in our last podcast, but I think it's just as applicable today, right? And it goes along with what you're saying. And that is that our circumstance is not as important as our focus. Yeah. So, Neck Nation, I'm going to say it again. Our circumstance is not as important as our focus. Right. And when we choose to focus on gratitude, great things happen in our life. In fact, I'll share kind of an experience. I've shared my experience with my job, right? I've talked about it a couple times from different aspects. And this time I'm going to talk about it from the aspect of gratitude. But this was a big learning opportunity and big lesson for me. So I've got this new job. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. It was really kind of miserable for me. It put me in a really dark spot. And all I could focus on was how miserable this job had made me. And I realized that the job was never going to change.
Right.
As much as I wanted it to, as I could have wished as hard as I could have, prayed as hard as I could have, whatever, right? The job was going to stay the same. The only thing that I could change about that situation was me and how I viewed it. And one of the benefits of this experience and this job being kind of as miserable as it was is it caused me to refocus on my family. And I came to realize how important my family is to me and how grateful I am for them as a result of the circumstance, which caused me to change my focus, right? Your circumstance is not as important as your focus. And when I focused on my family, the job, it wasn't as miserable. Now, is it the dream job? No. Am I grateful to have it? Absolutely. Do I get through my day a lot better now than I got through my day a year, 18 months ago? Absolutely, I'm getting through it better today. And I have a greater appreciation for my family, which, that's priceless to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good story. I have those stories, my son's story. Anytime I'm down and out and I'm hanging my head or things are going wrong, literally you start counting your blessings and you start looking at what you do have versus what you don't have. Man, it changes your mindset real quick and in a hurry. And I wish somebody would have told me a long time ago, because you know me, Austin, I got a bit of a short fuse.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On certain things,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? No fuse time, but
yeah.
It's interesting that gratitude and anger, they can't be present at the same time.
No.
Right? When you have gratitude, you can't be unhappy at the same time. You can't be sad. You can't have fear. So gratitude really is the power over negativity. It's the power over fear. It's the power over sadness. It's the power over all of these things that end up, we internalize and become our own worst enemy.
Sure.
Right? So gratitude, man, what a foundation to build on. It's huge. We've talked about attitude and choice and all these important things in our confidence and how we value ourselves. And I'm telling you what, gratitude is probably...
It rules the roost, brother.
Bro, it's the roost. It's the head rooster in charge, for real.
Absolutely.
So I have a story, and there was a guy, one of our employees, it just reminded me when you told your story. This guy was good, right? He was a crew leader on one of our jobs. And I'm not kidding you. This guy was so good. I mean, I don't even know how he got things done so fast. He got them done so fast. I ended up putting a GPS on the truck because I thought he was speeding everywhere. Right? I mean, he would motor here, motor there. He's getting stuff done, bro. He wasn't dragging ass at all. He would go. He was in it to win it, get stuff done so fast I didn't understand. And I get stuff done fast. So
I know you do.
I just didn't understand it. And I'm like, this is great. But so great that on the way to a job, it's early morning and I'm following behind him, dragging a trailer and an excavator, and he's in front of me, and the sun's coming up over the lake, and he calls me, boss, I just want to tell you how grateful I am and how thankful I am to have this job and this truck and this opportunity. I love my job. I love my life. Bro, I felt like his ecclesiastical leader,
Yeah, right.
Lay it on me.
Yeah.
Lay it on me. What
Preach
else,
it, brother.
What else can I do for you?
There you go.
Right? So, but it was so awesome. And that guy was so productive. Why? He was so grateful. Yeah. It affects every part of your life. He's going to church and to mass and doing these things with his kids, and his wife. And man, his outlook on life was money. It was awesome. It was inspiring. I'm like, and me, I just want to give him more and more and more.
Yeah.
Dude's grateful. I'm like, I love grateful.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Right? So fast forward 2 years later. I mean, 2 years is not a lot of time.
No.
Right? My oldest has just been gone for 2 years. He's coming home in February. So it's not a lot of time. So when we fast forward 2 years from that point when he was so grateful, I'll tell you what changed. He had a new truck, brand new.
Yeah.
Right? 0 miles, brand new, that he drove. He had a gas card. He had more jobs. He had more help. He was still in charge. He made $5 more an hour. He was getting incentives like sending his family on vacation, completely paid for when he hit certain marks. I mean, the dude had it all.
good benefits, man. That's
benefits,
yeah.
money, support. And you know me, I'm loyal to a fault, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone
you are,
says,
brother.
I don't like that guy, I'll say, oh, so what are you going to do? Because he ain't going anywhere,
Yeah,
right? You know how guys kind of jockey for position.
absolutely.
I got his back every time. So everything was better than it was when he was so grateful.
Yeah,
I mean, things were looking up. I mean, we had 2 years of work in front of us. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Everything except for armor all on the tires, you
Yeah.
know? So his attitude slipped. Little by little by little, you could see that. I don't know if it was the more we gave him or what. It doesn't matter why, right? He had a choice, and his choice was to start looking at the negative and to get rid of my gratitude and my attitude. And man, it impacted every part of his life. So much so that we ended up firing him and it was hard to do.
I'm sure.
That guy was good.
Yeah,
So to get rid of him based on his attitude, I mean, it was sad. It was a sad deal, but it affected, prior to him losing his job, it affected his family, his kids. So gratitude will enhance, or, it'll chance your relationships. I mean, it has the power over relationships, love, forgiveness. I mean, all of it, right? Regret. All these things, you can look at your past. If you have gratitude, you're not focused on your past. You're focused on what you have now.
right now.
And it gives you hope and vision for the future.
Yep.
Right? So that story, I mean, it's always sad because I look at that guy, he was so good, and it's like, why? Really?
Yeah.
Didn't have to happen.
It didn't. And you know, what you said just kind of resonates with a message that we've shared before, which is focusing on the now, right?
Yeah.
And I think, if you struggle with focusing on gratitude, like we all have, Nation,
Oh,
at some
yeah.
point in time in our life, we've all, had a struggle focusing on gratitude. But if we focus on the now, what we have right now, and let
Yeah.
that inspire our future, I think we're going to have a better time or an easier time being grateful. And we were talking a little bit before, Kit, about gratitude, the difference between gratitude and being thankful, and that thankful is an action, right? It's something
Yeah.
that's in our head, right?
Yeah.
And when somebody does something nice to you, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
You're thankful for that. But gratitude lives in our hearts,
Yep.
right?
Yep. It's in our soul.
It's
Yeah.
in our soul, and that's why it impacts everything so deeply, right? That's why, this employee you were talking about, his attitude was so great. It was ingrained in his heart, right?
Yeah.
Gratitude was, and little by little, it got eroded, which is super unfortunate for him. But
Yeah, it was. It was unfortunate for everybody. It affects everybody around you.
yes,
I mean, it's a big deal.
yep. And speaking of everybody around you, right? So this is another thought that I had was, we lose gratitude. Nothing will erode or take away your gratitude more or quicker than comparing yourself to others. We live in a society right now where it is keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And Neck Nation, you're neck deep in it,
Yeah.
right? We all understand this. We don't have to pretend. Even if you've been able to overcome this, there's been a period of time in your life where you've looked at somebody else and you've compared yourself to them and thought, man, if I had what they had, or how do they have what they have, or look what they have.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the last thing you're thinking about is what you have,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And you know what? When in the darkest moments, think back, Neck Nation. In some of your darkest, loneliest, most difficult moments, if we would have taken that very moment when we thought, man, is the light going to come back on? Right? Is there any hope for me during those tough times when we're under pressure? Whatever it is, all right, divorce, relationships, school, jobs, careers, paths, whatever it is, right? If you start focusing on I did this once when I was at one of my ultimate lows. I'm like, this is stupid, right? They want me to, someone mentioned, talk about my blessings or whatever. I did. And it's like, I'm like, this will happen on one hand. No, it's a big deal. So I think they talk about meditation and prayer or finding your higher source and giving thanks, because some of the things that we give thanks for are out of our control. There's miracles that happen to us. There's things that happen to us. There's compassion that comes our way. And if we miss the opportunity look at those for what they really are,
Yeah.
we really miss that opportunity to add another bean to the gratitude barrel, because it takes time and to really build that and practice that. They call practice gratitude. And practicing gratitude obviously is taking the time to notice each little thing. But you brought up a good point, and that's comparison. Dude, comparison, that's like sucking the helium out of a balloon quick.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
There's not going to be no gratitude if you're comparing yourself, because what's interesting about comparison, it's so easy to do. I saw this thing the other day, this meme, and here's this kid that has nothing. He's nailed down, and he's blessing his food. I mean, the kid, you can tell he got nothing. He's in a dirt hut, no windows, just some drapes covered over it. And then there's this dude taking a picture of his food, right?
Yeah.
We've seen him.
Yep.
Come on, bro. You don't take
There's millions of pictures.
take a picture of your
hundreds of
fish.
millions of pictures of food. Yeah.
You take a picture of your fish.
Yeah.
You don't take a picture of another man's fish. Take a picture of your fish, right?
Yeah.
But that really put it in perspective for me, because he's like, I'm eating at this fancy schmancy place or whatever, right? Look at the
Yeah.
presentation on the plate, and that dude's over there over a bowl of beans, and it's like, who's more mature? Who's more grateful? Who's more? We can learn, right? If we just open our
absolutely.
eyes. My kids have taught me. Sometimes I'm the teacher and sometimes I'm the student, and you got to humble yourself and be teachable sometimes, because even your kids can teach you. When my son was doing his gratitude journal, I learned a lot more just asking him questions than I could teach him at the time. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of those things put it in perspective, but comparing ourselves is dangerous, because you see where someone's at. Like, oh, this guy, he's miles ahead of me or years ahead of me, and in this way, and this way. Well, we talked about it the other day. What happens when we get to our destination of happiness? Right, we raise the bar.
All right. Yeah. We're always raising the bar on our happiness.
I mean, someone's always going to run a faster mile. It's just the world we live in.
Yeah.
Someone's always going to go further than us, right?
Yeah.
If you think you hit hard, bro, you're always going to find someone that can hit you harder,
Yeah.
right? It
Yep.
just keep swinging and you'll find out.
Yep.
So we're always going to find someone that goes further. So we can't base our comparison or our algorithm or whatever it is, our success chart, off of where someone's at and where we're at, because the reality is where they're at, that's dope. That's great.
Yeah.
They're rolling. But where did they start?
No kidding, right? Where did they start?
We don't know.
You don't know. It's like an hourglass, right? You see an hourglass running, you see the sand dripping from one
yeah.
side to the other, right? But how many times has that hourglass been flipped over? You don't know. You don't know where it started. You don't know the first trickle.
Right. All you do is see the sand running through it.
Right.
That's a good analogy. Well, the thing is we only know, and that's why it's important to focus on us, because that's where our true joy that's going to lead to that gratitude and that happiness is going to come from, is we know where we started. And as long as we're not in the same place where we started and we're making progress, we can measure that. You can't measure somebody else's progress. You can only measure your own. And that's why, it's important to, I think social media and all these things are cool, man. There's cool stuff on there, right?
Sure.
We got cool stuff on there, and there is a price on cool. Takes your time, takes your focus, right?
It does.
So we just have to compartmentalize it, pay attention, make sure that we're in it to win it. And anytime you're feeling down and out, right? Like you need to go do some throttle therapy or get away or do something. Man, if you're heading out to the track to do throttle therapy or go fishing or go jump on the tractor and bale hay or whatever you're doing, right, to get you your release because you're struggling, take that windshield time, turn the radio off, stop playing the air guitar, and start counting your blessings.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get there, throttle therapy won't be therapy. It'll just be, wide open.
No kidding.
So it's important.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, as you were going through this, that gratitude, we can, if we go back through the conversation that we've been having, gratitude always seems to lead. It
Yeah.
never seems to follow, right? So
Yeah.
it's not that you're happy and then all of a sudden you have gratitude. It's not that you're successful and all of a sudden you have gratitude. It's you've got to start with gratitude. You've got to figure out how to harness the power of gratitude, apply that in your life, and then let it run.
Yep.
Let it do its thing, because it will do amazing things for you. But it always leads, it never follows.
No, always leads. And gratitude equals enough.
Yeah.
What you have right now, and I mean, my history, and the thing is it's important to have patience when you have nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it's more important when you have everything or when you start making progress to have gratitude in that moment. And the problem is, I think we look at our lives and we say, when I get this, this, and this, it'll be a lot easier to be more grateful. No,
Wrong.
right?
Yeah.
If you're not grateful right now, Neck Nation, right now, and I'm talking to us, I mean, come on, man. I ain't the kettle, nor am I the pot, right?
Yeah.
I'm both, but I'm talking to me too, and that's why I love doing this, man. I'm passionate about this because you know what? I'm feeding this tiger too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So it's good stuff, and it needs to be spread, and it needs to be learned and focused on. But when you start looking at that, what you have right now, if you're not grateful with what you have right now, you're not going to be grateful with what you have when you have your dreams come true.
Right.
Right.
It won't be enough.
And something interesting about gratitude, it's just one more of those emotions. It's one more of those building blocks that is priceless. I mean, you can't write a check for that. It's like, man, Austin, you're so grateful, bro. I just want to write you a check.
Yeah.
Right? I got a dog named Dollar, and I want to write you a check. Right? How much? It's like you can't buy it, man. It's just those things that are so important and they belong in your soul and in your heart. Those are things you can give away, but you always get them back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You give them away. It's like kindness, man. You give it away, but you don't lose it.
Yep.
Right? So it's super powerful. But yeah, gratitude. You don't mind if I tell another story that?
Let's hear it,
bro. This one. I mean, this one's big. It's so there's a professor that does research on tribes that are uncontacted. When
sure.
I mean uncontactable, they are legit tribes that are
off the grid.
Off the grid, bro. There's not even a grid to see if they're off the grid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they're still living off the land, and so he goes to visit this tribe. It took him a long time to get him to okay it, but he goes and visits this tribe in Africa, and I mean it's way out there and away from civilization. And he takes this rickety boat and he tells this whole story, and I'm gonna go as fast as I can just to get to the point. But he wanted to spend 3 days there and just talk to them and participate in their daily activities and see what, why do they have so much gratitude, and because he had heard about them. But when I say they're uncontactable, bro, there's no cell phones, there's no phone, there's no market, there's no ship pulling up and unloading the things that they need. None of that, bro. They don't even have a freaking barge to unload the barge on, right? It's like riding up Billy the Kid, riding up and tying up his horse,
Right.
He didn't put a lock on it. You knew it was his.
Yeah.
So it's one of those areas, and he explains, he goes, I can explain what I saw, but I can't explain the feeling. It's unexplainable. And the reason it's unexplainable is because there's so much joy and gratitude. And it wasn't a front. And so here's these people, Austin, who have absolutely nothing from our perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, from the glass house, from the eyes of the world, whatever you want to do it, the ones that put pressure and rocks in our backpacks, right? From all of those things, you look at these guys in dirt huts and this and that. They have no currency. You know what their currency was?
The things that they had.
Yeah, they're still on the trade and barter system. So this guy has he has bananas and fruits and da-da-da. And this guy has this and that. And everyone knows everyone's skill, and they trade and barter and work together. And they literally are not trading for, a new Power Stroke or Dodge or whatever. They're not trading for, a turbo on their snowmobile or whatever. They're trading to survive.
Yeah.
So
simple.
How is it? I mean, riddle me this. How is it that they are the most grateful, happy people on the planet? How?
It's just because their life is so simple, right? We live in a confusing world right now, and everything competes for our attention, and the stuff that gets our attention really shapes our attitudes, and they're sheltered from that.
Yeah, they are, and they don't know.
Yeah,
they don't know what's going on. They would probably look at us like the Jetsons,
Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you guys? That's crazy.
Aliens.
Yeah, right? So that story was always so powerful because that guy was supposed to stay for 3 days and he stayed for 6. He overstayed his stay because it didn't make sense to him.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's not going to make sense to you. You just come out of a noisy, confusing, rock and roll, full throttle, wide open world of innovation and information and overload, 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 right?
Yep.
That you can't go there and understand it. But
Yeah.
what we get from it, what we do understand, is it doesn't take things to find that grateful heart, that grateful foundation that brings us joy in the daily doing that ultimately leads to happiness. We don't need it,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing wrong with shiny things. We like them,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But the reality is we're not going to like them or appreciate them if we don't appreciate what we have right now. So, I mean, honestly, I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to talk about this and just give me a reminder because, man, when it's important, it's worth repeating,
Yeah.
right? And gratitude's important, and I've seen the effects of it in my life. You've seen it, but the reality is, I just want to say thank you, and I'm grateful for when I was down and out, somebody that came along and rekindled my gratitude fire and took the time to talk to me to relight, that passion and gratitude for me. And I'm grateful for that because guess what? There's a million other people out there that need to find this foundational gratitude and they need to know that they're worth it and that gratitude can change every aspect of their life from their health to their wealth to everything. Right. And
Yeah.
so I'm grateful for someone taking the time to rekindle my fire and my gratitude so I could get back to, improving myself and being grateful for what I have. So if there's someone out there listening that's got gratitude corralled and got it figured out, man, go light someone else's fire and help them figure it out. It's important and they're worth it. And you know what? You can give it away and still keep it. So I'm grateful.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Kit. And I'm grateful too. I'm grateful for Neck Nation and for all those that are listening today. And so let's focus, right? Let's put our focus where it needs to be. Focus on the here and now, the things that we have. Let's be grateful for the things that we have, Neck Nation. And like Kit was saying, if you've got gratitude cornered, share that gratitude with somebody else. Help inspire somebody else so that they can achieve things in their life that they never thought were possible. So if you liked what you heard today, be sure to like and share this video and subscribe to the podcast. But for now, bless up, Neck Nation.
Bless up.